Catus, Maximus here. This time I'm reviewing the Bondhus straight tip or non-ball T-handle hex sets along with the Torx Set. And to really sum it up, Bondhus isn't the best, but I got all three of these sets. What we have here is 26 pieces for like right at $100, $100.50 or something. American made, generous warranty. You do have to pay to ship a wrench that's stripped, bent, or broken to them, but they'll just give you a replacement, kind of like a Craftsman. You just have to pay to send the wrench to them, which isn't too much for a small wrench. You can just put it in an envelope. So they have a generous warranty. They're American made. They're not the best, like, you know, PB Swiss, but they don't cost $120 for a single set. And I've had pretty good luck with them. What I do like about Bondhus also is the fact that they have pretty good sizing. Really tight sizing. They always seem to fit real tight, like say on this 5mm. We're just about right there, 4.99. If we take a look, say at the 8mm here. If I can get that really pretty nominally sized. Really do appreciate that. We'll take a look at the fractional ones. Same thing here. That's one of the things I've always liked about the Bondhus, is at least they fit tightly. As we can see, these yellows and red sets, the metric and fractional, when you buy them in the sets, they are graduated. The small ones are shorter. The bigger ones are a little bit longer. But that also leads me to some of my criticisms. Is a Torx set, they don't have them graduated. They're all 6-inch shank. As you can see here, how much taller this is. This small Torx, the T9 versus, say, this 2mm. And I find that just to be a little bit cheesy. It's a bit inconsistent when you're offering graduated sets in metric and fractional hex, but you don't have graduated sets in the Torx. The other thing that chased me is just, you know, kind of their design or their choices for offering these sets. They do actually sell 7mm and 9mm versions, say, in these hex sets, but they're only special order. There is none of these sets, whether you want them all 6-inch stem or graduated, where they include the 7 and the 9. You can buy them, but you have to buy them separately, individually. It's a little bit annoying. The second thing, and that comes with the Torx, is not only are they not graduated, which is a little bit annoying, but the fact that it's an 8-piece set, which going only to T40 just seems a little bit chintzy to me, but yet including a T9, which is something I wouldn't be using very often in a T-handle. I would much prefer this to be a 10-piece set going from T10, say, through T50 to include a T45, a T47, which like some GM vehicles, I've run into T47s and a T50. Turns out Bondhus doesn't even make a T47. They make a T45, a T50, and a T55. So it'd be nice if you could get a more complete set instead of buying this and then having to buy the T45 and the T50 separately. Yet when it comes to the fractional set, it's a 10-piece, and it's actually quite complete. The only one that you might special order that they do have is the 1/2-inch version. So Bondhus needs to work on that. I still think they're a good deal. With the stands, these 26-piece set of American-made, well-sized, with a generous warranty, is certainly worth it for $100. And that's why I got them, because I already have the metric and fractional T-handle ball versions, but I did want the straight ones. So if you're, you know, putting a lot of force, I have a straight shank, so that, one, it's less likely to break the wrench, but two, you're less likely to strip out stubborn fasteners. That's the big issue with ball ends. But of course, there is an annoyance there too. When you get the ball end sets, the T3 or the 3mm, the 2.5, and the 2, as well as the smaller sizes, the fractional ones, are also straight shank. Yet they're longer. As we can see, this is a 13-252 series. This is the 13-352 series. There's quite a bit of difference in length. And so these, with the straight shanks, tend to be shorter because they're non-ball, and you end up putting a little bit more force. And that was one of the impetus of me even getting these, is I've used this T2, surprisingly enough, more than a few times, and you really feel that this thing really wants to twist up and then just start binding and turning into an S shape. A little bit annoying, and I thought, You know, if Bondhus has straight shank sets, they should make even these longer stem ones, even the small ones, ball end. You can't get any ball end, so what I'm going to end up having to do is like use a file or something and customize each of these longer ones, these 13-2 series, to be ball end. And so that's another little bit of a frustration, because right now I just end up with duplicates, short and long, which I guess could be handy in some situations, but really I'd rather the ball sets be all ball, down to the smallest ones. People who, you know, buy these know that a ball end is not going to be as strong, and you want to be a little bit more careful with it. And then you can get these shorter stem, stronger straight ones, or non-ball style. So anyway, that's my little video about these. The other thing I thought was a little bit cheesy is they changed the mold for this holder for the Torx set so that it would fit these tightly, but they put a sticker over it. And if we peel up the sticker here, what do we see? It's actually the embossing for the metric. So what they've done is they've actually taken this metric holder, actually changed the mold so it would hold the wrenches tightly, but didn't change the markings. And I suspect what they've done is they're actually using the same mold that's making this metric holder and using some type of inserts that they're inserting into the mold in order to make these holes smaller, because these aren't plastic inserts into this holder. This is molded smaller. So they must be using little sleeves that they insert into the mold, and then they mold out a bunch of these and save a bunch of money not actually having to recut a new mold. Still, I thought it was a little cheese ball that they would have a sticker over just the metric one and then use inserts. It makes sense, but, you know, still, it's worth mentioning. Overall, these sets are probably the one, to tell you the truth, I probably, if I would have known better, I wouldn't have gotten the T-handle ball versions. I would have just got these sets in the first place and not got the T-handle balls, because I kind of feel like I wasted a little bit of money. They're not that expensive. Bondhus, you know, is American made, and they keep the prices quite reasonable for the quality of their tools. They just need to work on their sets and just how their product offerings stack up and get a little bit more consistency, because it does annoy me a little bit that these T-handle ones or these Torx ones are all 6-inch stems, so they're kind of just like the odd man out compared to the others. And the fact that they only come with smaller sizes. I understand there's probably just a bit more manufacturing cost because they have to cut out the ends on them. But still, they could do a little bit better job. And that's not the only thing. Like on this 1/4-inch one, there's not even evidence that they ever it just, for some reason, the silk screening just didn't get the 1/4-inch put on there. So, you know, I wouldn't mind paying just a little bit more money. Maybe if all three of these was $120 and they came with a couple more sizes of this. And maybe another suggestion was, instead of just a silk screening, if they did some kind of impression, like just a hot impression that actually indented or embossed the numbering on these plastic handles so they'd last a little bit longer rather than just being silk screened and wearing off, that might be nice too. Or include wider sets and then just charge a little bit extra for the stands. They do come in these plastic pouches here, so you can't, and they're like plastic, the stands are like riveted to the pouch, so if you're a service technician or something like that, have a service truck, you can just keep them in the pouches, and it makes them a little bit more transportable. So I actually do like that. I kind of like the option of different ways of carrying them, either in the stands or in the pouches. And once again, the sizing is really good, even on the Torx. I do like how tight they are. This is kind of a worn deck screw, not the best, the tightest broaching on this one. And still, it holds pretty tight. So, Bondhuses are good, but they're not perfect. But once again, this 26-piece set with the sands for just right about $100, it's still a pretty good deal, even if you have to deal with the hassle of ordering individual sizes to fill them out. which once again seems weird because the fractional set's already a 10-piece and a really complete set. So who knows where their decision-making process and that came from. Anyway, I really appreciate everybody who's been watching and subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. Till next time, Catus Maximus out.